geen Calder trouwens, hè? Dus ik hoorde je alleen maar net via dingen.
Oh, that's what I was afraid of. Hello. Just getting Calder in here.
Am I in?
Calder, you need to join again.
Okay.
Okay, just setting everything up. Keeps. So I think they can already hear you, just cannot see you yet. My facial hair greatly amuses you because it's such a mess. Yeah, I haven't shaved in a while.
Right. Okay.
Okay, well. Woody time, yeah, it's comfy time. It's cold outside.
Wait. What?
Does anyone else feel bad for these guys? Oh yeah, that's a good sentiment, yeah. Okay, you guys can hear him? Yeah, he's still joining in.
Noises because I just need the link, but I'm not in there.
Okay, let me generate a new one.
Let me try again.
Wait, I generated a new one. That you can use this one. Try this one.
Oh, another link. Okay, let's go. Join.
Where's the delete key? We deleted the delete key.
No? I can't hear you, Jeroen. That
You
just
can't
to make
hear
that
me?
clear because I'm not in Streamlabs. I just clicked the last link.
It was working. It was over. Oh wait, sorry. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, but then I hear you through Gather again, I guess.
Yeah. Now it's gathering again. But then, wait. So the stream of links does not work anymore. The collab cam.
But I'm just alone in the collab campaign.
Oh,
so
I know. Okay, you clicked it.
I'm in there. The
Wait,
last
why
one
doesn't
you
it-
shared, yeah.
What?
Wait,
Because
I
normally it should
disappeared.
show like, oh, show on stream, and then it's like,
Okay.
okay, wait. I need to keep this open. Okay, try again.
Another link or?
Calder is hiding from the ADC feedback. Okay, let's try creating a new link one more time.
Well, again? I just joined.
I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I just joined. Okay. I'm
This
clicking
is
the last link.
This
you
one is
shared.
gonna work. I'm 100% sure.
Okay, let's go. Okay.
Yeah, it's great. We set everything up so
there?
perfectly, and then I pressed go live, and then YouTube was like, no, this is not your account anymore, or something. And then I had to log back in, and that,
I'm in the thing, by the way.
you're in the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I joined the thing, the link you shared, but I'm
Yeah,
still alone.
but it doesn't show up for me. Okay, let me just delete. I mean, you can just start talking. We'll just kind of do it in the meantime, I guess. I can also kind of find a picture, like a cute picture of you.
Yeah.
And then, wait, let me try to just remove this collab cam, add again, collab cam, let's go. Add source, collab cam, copy.
This is
Okay, I have one more
There's-
link.
okay. Let's
Christmas music, yes.
janky live stream setup.
The Wooting stream has never had any technical issues. Yeah, it's because Sander's out skiing, so now all of a sudden we need to do it ourselves, and of course, like as always, like it seems fine, but then you go live and then it's like it's not fine.
What changed?
I have no idea. Okay, maybe you know what we'll do? Can you enable your camera on Gather? I'll just capture that and then we'll just use that.
Okay.
Okay, then if you just do the intro, then I'll figure this out.
Okay. And the ghost in the background speaking. You can
Calder jank.
yeah. Yes, my yes, this is that's exactly what it is. That's so I'm actually on camera, but it's really dark and you just can't see me.
Right.
So yeah, welcome to the live stream. Today
Oh.
we're at the end of a pretty busy week. At least I feel it was a very busy week. And start of the week we released a video about the ATHE and changing the layout of the ATHE slightly. And today we're gonna cover everything. Whoa! Look!
Whoa! Call us back! Call us back!
I'm in the browser somewhere. Here.
Whoa! Okay, epic entrance.
All right. All right.
Okay, we got it.
Okay, nice. So, well, I'm looking at the stream, but it's very delayed, of course. Okay, wow, look, there I am. Whoa. Okay, sorry. So we released the video, and then we got feedback from the video. The votes are very clear. Oh, sorry. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the ATHE and everything, all the developments until so far, and some things that we're going to do different with the ATHE based on the feedback that we've been getting and how the whole launch of stuff has progressed. So today we're going to cover all of that. I think the biggest thing right now is that we had that video out in the beginning and there were votes, and it's very clear what the votes are. We are going to shift the arrow keys now slightly more to the right, so it's a bit more aligned with the navigation cluster. And that is something that Kevin's been working really hard on, changing all the drawings, because we kind of have to modify the molds for the keyboard were already made.
Nope.
I, in fact, have here a perfectly fine working assembled ATHE in that I will show later because it's also in a special case that was all done. And now that we need to shift the arrow keys, we need to change the molds a bit. And changing the molds is a very interesting process because we don't have to open entire new molds to shift the arrow keys, but we do kind of need to use different tricks to modify the mold to make it shift.
Yep.
So there's one really effective one that we're using for the switch plates where you pop the switches in, and to be clear, it's not just like you change the mold, one mold, we have to change like 5 different molds.
5? I thought it would be 3.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we
no,
have different
1,
plates for that.
2, 3, 4.
Oh, because
it's
every
4.
layout has a different plate.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's 4. It's 4. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's the top case.
Yeah.
Needs to modify because, you know, obviously there's now a little gap there and it needs to have a spacer. That is like a mold has a male and a female side that come together, and then it gets injected, and then it separates and it comes out. So for that one, we need to change basically one of the sides. So I think it's the female one. We need to really swap
a little
out.
bit robot again. Maybe you can change the microphone.
Robot Calder.
Robot Calder back.
Okay, let me change out the mic.
TKL HE already works. 4chan leaked it 3 days ago. Oh no, did we get hacked by 4chan again?
Okay, is this better? No more robot?
Yes, this is better.
Okay.
Just probably need to bump you a little bit, but I'll do that.
Okay. Right. Okay. So we have male-female mold. So on the top case, we have to basically replace the whole female side of the mold. Then we have the switch plates. The switch plates have 2 different ones. One is for anti-ISO. Other one is for JIS for Japanese. The anti-ISO is a combined mold because we just need to swap out what is called a core on the same mold, which is a piece of metal that you can slide in and slide out.
Could you bump your own microphone a little bit? I'm having some trouble increasing the volume on my side because of this whole multi-channel setup.
Wait. Okay. Yeah, I've just bumped it now.
Okay, good.
Is this better?
That sounds better. Yeah, that's good. Now it's in the yellow.
You can bump it a bit more there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna finish the story about the molds,
yes.
And then I can get it off my head. I'm pretty tired, so forgive me if I'm a little bit blah. Right. Okay. So anti-ISO. Right. Then JIS. So for that to change, like shift the arrow keys, we're basically also cutting out the place where the arrow keys are right now in the mold, and that we're gonna also make an insert mold or new core, so we can like take it out. Then it's gonna make a new metal piece, and that was gonna slide in, and that one has the arrow keys slightly shifted. And with the arrow keys shifting, it also means on the bottom case, that mold, where there's a screw point there, and it's kind of interfering slightly there. Mm-hmm. So I forgot it was also doing the insert mold thing, or if we just replaced one whole side of the mold. I forgot what it was again, but there we also need to make a modification. And then we get to 4 molds. Yeah, so 4 molds are now going through modification to shift the arrow keys to the right. And that in total is going to take about a month and a half, and they've not included Chinese New Year, which is
next month,
Yeah.
middle of February-ish. Start of February, most of the stuff already closes down.
Yeah.
And it's gonna last for at least 2 weeks, and then things open up again. So we are also not 100% sure when the new molds will be ready yet, but we're working really fast. The vendor is also working together with us, trying to do everything as fast as possible so we don't lose any time. But that's what's happening right now. And in the meanwhile, it's not like it's also a good thing, because in the meanwhile, it also gives us a little bit more time to hash out things and just mature a bit more, mature a couple more things than we would have otherwise thought to do. And that kind of also leads to the next topic we can jump to in a moment. I don't know if there is something specific here that we still need to cover.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that with the vote on Discord, like it's not the final result is like for B, so that's the shift arrow keys at 3,680, and for A is 136. So that's do some quick math. 36. That's a lot of percent. That's my quick math. 96.5%. Yeah. Both votes with. Oh yeah. Okay. Some people voted with the heart. Some people voted either or. Happy either way. But I think in general it's a good change to do. Somebody else says like, oh, is it worth it from a business perspective? I would say most definitely, because like Calder just explained, like it doesn't require full new tooling or anything. Like the tooling we've already created, you can just edit this. Yeah. Something I think maybe kind of interesting to talk about, Calder, is some feedback that we've also seen is like, hey, why announce it so late? The tooling is already done. What's going on? Like you can't make that big of a change anymore anyway. Could you just kind of talk a bit about like why so late? Like what's going on there?
Well, originally we were trying to do different with the 80, and I can't say we 100% succeeded in it, but what we tried to do different is be much closer to delivering the keyboards than we would otherwise be.
Yeah.
So that we would have a much shorter launch to delivery time.
Yeah.
And
so the 60 as a reference was announced October, and it was delivered in July the year after. So that's like and we were even in the tooling phase then already. I think it wasn't even.
Yeah, a lot of times we do the launch when we kick off tooling, but not when tooling is done necessarily.
Yeah.
It's around the time we kick off tooling. And we have not experienced with any of the layouts, we haven't experienced this kind of controversy. So that was very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I said in the video, we're kind of blind to it, to even think that this would be a thing that would happen.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that we were definitely a bit further than we would otherwise be. Originally, we were even planning to do almost a production and then do the whole thing. But now I'm really happy that's not the case.
Yeah.
And I'm also going into the future and not so sure if we should ever do that.
No. It's just like making something like this just takes a really, really long time. And it's not just like, okay, well, I make the design, let me just make some tooling, and then a month later I have a keyboard on my desk, right? Like it's because what you mentioned before also in the video is like, okay, the start of the design process was started 2022. The tooling kickoff was at least 6 months ago. I don't remember exact date, but then and even then, like it's not like.
You mean for the 80 or the 60?
Mm-hmm. The 80, yeah.
Yeah, the 80 we kicked off the tooling about 4 months ago, I think at least 3 months ago. Like for tooling, you do need something like, you need at least 3 months with this, but depending on what kind of issues you run into, it could take longer.
Yeah.
But 3 months is kind of the rule of thumb. Or the rule of thumb, yeah. So but then what you don't take into account in this, that is just opening the tooling. What you're not taking into account then is preparing for opening the tooling. It's called Design for Manufacturing, DFM. and you're basically going through the 3D drawings and doing all kind of simulations for injection and kind of finding out where you need to make changes to the design so
Oh
the
yeah,
injection
that's
will be
also
smoother.
yeah.
And usually you can already after a month or month and a half, you can get your first sample of the like the molds are done in its first phase and they do a first injection and you can review everything. But it's not done yet because there's like usually like mold mark issues, flow not going precise, or maybe something was missed. So in that phase, you usually don't do any kind of etching or any kind of finish on the molds yet.
Right.
That's also why we had these transparent cases that we've shown, because you can look through it and you can see all the mechanical parts and the whole thing is assembled.
Yeah.
And then once you've like found the things there, then you go into another. They make the adjustments and they go another round, and then you keep doing this until the moment you're completely satisfied. And every time you do a round, you call it like T0, T1, T2, and it's like for trial 0, trial 1, trial 2. And usually you get there already with T3, but it doesn't mean that is where it always ends. So, and you lose a lot of time with, you make the sample that gets sent to us.
You need to get feedback.
Multiple people it's sent to, and then it takes a while to completely review it. A lot of times you kind of like go through it, then there's like a pause, they go through it again, and you find like different things. So, and you still need to make changes to the drawing afterwards.
I saw a question that if you can select the switches for the 60HE. So with the module you already can, and we're also planning to release the 80HE at least unseen ISO in bare bones. Let me quickly fact check that part. Like
yes.
So the unseen ISO in bare bones.
No, we're gonna have. Every layout we're going to have a barebone version.
So it's unseen ISO and a Japanese layout, by the way.
Yes, they'll all have a barebone version.
Yeah.
But then for ISO, we're going to have a version where the switches are pre-installed, but no keycaps, because there are too many languages, so we try to keep that flexible.
Yeah.
For the ANSI model, we will have a version where it is also it's fully assembled with switches and keycaps.
Yeah.
And then for the Japanese layout, I think we only have the barebone, and then we are working on a PBT DICE set. So then at checkout, you can choose your own switch. You choose the barebone, you can choose a switch, and you can opt in for our PBT Japanese layout, keycaps, or you get your own on the local market. So that's kind of the only barebone with GIS, but then the other ones have their own assembled and barebone, blah blah.
Right. So barebone is basically the complete keyboard without keycaps, without switches, so you can choose your own switch. And for the 60HE, you can do that with the module, actually, right now.
Yes, kind of like the module. Yes.
Yeah, and we're also working on expanding the switch options available.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we're good. That's kind of the future vision also for the keyboards, is that we always have a barebone available, and then we'll have different switches available for not only our own switches, but try to get more other brand switches on there as well.
Yeah.
And then also have options for keycaps, and then you can just choose your own things. Or you just choose to, get the keycaps and switches somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then we have an assembled version, and the assembled version is always going to be one switch type. And the goal of this assembled version is to keep costs as low as possible, so we can also make the assembled version the best price possible.
Yeah. Chat frozen on stream. Yeah, the chat is a little bit bugged, I think. Sometimes I need to kind of restart and then it works again. Let's see, YouTube chat, let's try to hide this, show this. Okay, it might pop up again. How is the music, by the way, for you guys? Because for me it feels quite loud, but I don't know how it comes through in the stream. I tried to kind of softer, but it's already on the lowest volume. So I saw ISO German keycaps are also, yeah. So we already have that as a set for the 60 and 2HE as well, actually. But then those also just work with the 80HE.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then, so for the 80, so we're gonna also change
Pretty
now
loud,
how we're going
yeah.
to launch the 80. Sorry?
Music is fine, it's perfect. Okay.
We're gonna so to continue on the 80HE.
Okay, good.
There's we're also gonna make a change to how we're going to launch the 80HE. So originally the plan that we had in mind was we're gonna slowly reveal more and more things about the 80HE.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have the countdown for the founders campaign. And through the countdown, we are going to show a bit more features of the 80HE, and then at the end of that countdown, we'll reveal a full product page of everything listed out, and you can start pre-ordering the 80HE.
Yes.
But because of all the commotion, when we showed the layout, we kind of now lost about 2 weeks in having to take a different direction. And it also kind of, from my viewpoint, it also kind of changed how we need to approach the 80, and we not to do it in the same way anymore, and to spend a little bit more time on fully hashing out all the details before we make it available for pre-orders, and then instead to just focus on updating and sharing about the development of the 80HE.
Yep.
And getting your feedback in a much sooner point than we would otherwise plan to do, because usually we would have the campaign launch and there were like a few tweaks we can still do, and we can see the feedback, and usually we don't need to make a whole lot of changes, just a few. But now we're gonna pull in you a little bit earlier, and we're not gonna do any pre-order launch yet. We're gonna postpone the pre-order launch until a later moment, but we're already going to start now with doing updates, sharing development, what is happening now, and how did we make a certain thing on the 80, and then taking the feedback, and from that point also try to see if we need to make improvements there or not.
Yeah, I think like a little bit later, maybe we can do some questions, and then you can also, I mean, we already have sort of like a first, just sort of like a small reveal that will also go into a feedback point later, like what you're talking about, what we can kind of do a bit more along the way. I just saw some back and forth about mass producing it or not. And just to be clear, like for the 60HE, like even though it feels like, oh my God, it's always in pre-orders, why don't these guys just ramp up production? We're really trying. It's like, but it just takes a long time, and it just got a lot more popular than we expected. Like even, like we tried to produce more, and then there was even more demand, and we tried to produce more, and then there was even more demand, and now we're almost caught up. But for the 80HC, like we're definitely, like for the first few productions, we have a target that I think will be pretty hard to reach, or at least like that should be enough, and we're planning to definitely have it on stock a lot sooner, because it's not our intention to have these sold out on purpose or anything. Same for the 80HC, like the first round is going to be already really, really big. I think maybe one of the bigger ones that we've done so far, just to make sure, like, hey, we have it on stock right away. Hopefully, that's the goal at least.
If for first production, it's larger than what we've done in the past.
Yeah.
But the first batch we produce, we don't want it to be humongous.
Because of the first time being the first time, right?
So you want to, with the first couple of productions, you want to kind of limit the total batch sizes. So if there's anything, and this can be as simple as at assembly, there's a certain thing that makes assembly not smooth.
Right.
There needs to be an improvement, and then you do that with the next batch.
Usually like setting up test flows and those kind of things, like those standards.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially with the first one, it's always making some changes to the assembly line. Sometimes how something's packaged or folded.
Right.
Obviously, there can be something also, maybe they find out when they're assembling a lot. We have this, what's going to be interesting is the 80HE has a daughter board. So doing the daughter board assembly is much different from just sliding in the PCB and everything. So for sure, there's going to be something there where they're going to look at, we need to make a special jig maybe for this. So so then we're gonna phase that, and but we're ramping up that production already much bigger than we would have otherwise done.
Yeah.
And then I should also note for the 60, we actually had huge production quantity planned throughout the end of the year and the start of this year. But with the some of the module development, we changed also the PCB on the 60HE a bit. And that caused a bit of a hiccup in our production planning.
Yeah.
And now a lot of the productions we had planned are releasing this month and after Chinese New Year in March, a lot of them. So now we have the total quantity we originally had planned by, I think by March, is now going to arrive in April, with some of them that we had planned for December now arriving in March.
Yeah.
So that is also causing a bit of a hiccup, but regardless of that, we actually have been and definitely have lately ramped up that production quite a lot. And
Yeah,
to
to the point that maybe a lot of people feel like, why get a 60? It takes like 3 or 4 months to deliver, and I think it's like now it should be a few weeks. I mean, I don't know, because like it does change pretty fast.
Yeah, I think
But
the
then,
delivery time is now set on March because we're missing a couple batches.
Oh, because and it pushes.
What should have
further down
happened
there.
is that if everything would have finished, and this is still true if I'm right, we would have had in stock now.
Yeah.
But now we have also Chinese New Year, so there's another month gap with productions that just can't finish before. So we're going to have that in stock moment. What is it, in April? But then
Okay, let's
funny
kind of
enough,
pull back to the 80 Calder, because I think that's what most people are. Because I do want to get to the showing of the case that we've been talking about before. I think that'll be pretty cool.
yeah.
And I just want to clarify from the holster, because somebody else asked, like, does that mean this countdown on the website is invalid? Yes, it does. That was this original plan. We're shifting that a little bit. We're gonna update the website. I think like Monday or Tuesday next week. So we'll still do a launch like we did before, like a founders campaign launch, but it will be a little bit later. Probably 1 or 2 months later. It's like, but then we'll put like more information on the page update itself, and that will also give a bit of an overview more about like the different layouts and the different setups and the different features that the ADHD will have as well. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, and it's going to be a different approach because the idea is that we want to pull in everybody. It's not just about you ordered the keyboard and you're joining in the conversation. It's just about now we're going to start sharing a lot more publicly. Since we've been holding back on saying anything about the ATHE because we were very afraid, and it's something to be afraid of, is that if we're going to talk about it too soon and we share about it too soon, while it's in the very early development phase, people are going to start waiting for it. And a lot of people just don't realize that these kind of developments just take a long time. So even if you're very close, and I would say like, oh, we just have to make the molds and then we can go into this and that, and we can do like in 5 months later production, you're then 2 months into it and already something comes up, oh shit, okay, it's going to take another month longer.
Yeah.
And then suddenly what's supposed to take 6 months takes all of a sudden 9 or 11 months.
Which then, I'm sure a lot of people that have joined the founders campaign before are very familiar with.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. And what then happens is that you get this really awkward situation where people are waiting and anticipating.
Yeah.
We're not selling because you know the product's not close to done, right?
Yeah.
And you're still like putting everything together.
Yeah.
And then it delays and they just never make the decision, and then it's over, you know, like the moment is over.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to hit a good balance, and it only works. Going very early only works if there's nothing else that it will cannibalize. So with the for example, it was a lot easier to.
Yeah. Or even with the 60, because that was already like so different than what we had before. But what we had before that, so.
That's all true. Yeah.
Hello, members of the White Sync Hello ADC Church. Ayo, let's go. True believers. True believers.
Okay.
Wish enough of your
so
dream
I actually had.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
let's
actually
go
had-
talk about the
so-
case. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, so we've been working a lot on finding out what we're going to do with the case colors. We it started all with wanting to do case with the case material, and we switched all our plastic that we use for the cases to PCR plastic, which is post-consumer recycled plastic. And it basically means that the plastic we use now for the ATHE case is plastic that originally was a end product that was returned back and recycled into plastic pellets, and that is then used to make the ATHE case.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no step back in quality. It is about 80%, if I'm right, depending on which
80%?
version you go for.
Be careful if you call it
Yeah,
80% Calder.
80%.
It's,
Oh, I just realized that now. But it is 80% PCR plastic.
yeah.
And the second thing was we were kind of trying to find out how can we do this and also kind of translate that into the design of the keyboard and communicate this. So we started doing make sure this one first. We started doing like wiggle speckles inside the case. This is a transparent one. And I can't see myself really live, so I don't know what it's showing right now.
Yeah, it shows quite well. Yeah.
Okay. We also, let me throw my own camera open. I can see. Okay, there we go. Okay. So this one just shows very clearly all the speckles inside. So we can make the plastic color any color you want, and then you have all these speckles inside.
So PCR is not always
And,
black. But this is also PCR. You can also.
This is also PCR. Yeah. We can do a lot with the PCR, but there are limitations. Like this transparent case has like a slight blue purple glow to it.
Oh yeah.
And that is just from the fact that it's PCR. So what we also did was we have this is another one. You see, this is more into the black area.
Yeah.
And this has like a very starry look to it because of all the speckles inside.
Yeah.
Right. But then this black is not as black as if you would go pure black. So if we, let's see if I have it here. I don't know if I still have the bottom case on it yet.
Oh, I can do something. Uh-oh. Oh no.
What?
Nothing.
Did I disappear?
No, I did. Well, I accidentally almost leaked something that I wanted to show a bit later.
Okay. I don't have the bottom case at hand now, but you can see this is a more pure black on the top.
Mm-hmm.
You can see there's a color difference now.
Yeah.
But this black is also PCR plastic, but we can't do the speckles because it will completely disappear. Black is too dominant.
Right.
Right. Okay. So we were experimenting a lot in this area, and then we came to the point where it was let's go for
what?
the
For
trans.
what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Still alive.
It'll make sense.
Yeah.
It'll make
Okay.
sense. For?
Okay. So we're heading towards the transparent case. Is very cool. It shows a bit more of the. It shows the gasket design. It shows some of the construction. It also helps to. It really brings forward the whole design, especially when you look from the top. And but it looks a bit prototypey. So we started making it a bit more smoky black type of case, and that is what I'm using here. So this is probably what it's going to be for the black color. And this is a, let's say, transparent or well, it's not. This is still transparent, not translucent.
Yeah.
Smoky black color. And this one still has the speckles. We're still looking at if we want to keep the speckles. You can ignore the yellow feet.
I'm
but
also
this
showing it
color
on the
feet
stream,
is
by the way.
correct.
Yeah, I don't think you can see it, but then
Oh
I
yeah.
took some of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pictures
yeah.
that Kevin because I just think it will be nicer to.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. My it's low quality
Yeah.
with the camera here. So yeah. Um, okay. So this is a smoky black, transparent case with the final silicone color we want to use. This is kind of like a cool gray ish silicone. This is actually, oh my god, nobody knows this yet, I think.
What?
This silicone feet, this is now at 6 degrees.
Right.
So this silicone feet is replaceable
Yeah.
to a flat one, which I have in a bag here. I'm just not going to put it on right now, but you can put on a flat one, and then it's 2.8 degrees. So it's a very flat keyboard then.
Yeah.
When you go to 6 degrees by installing this one, you get the same angle as a 6HE. But the 8HE is actually on the front side, I think even slightly lower than the...
Yeah, that's
almost
also
the same
something
as a
I think
60.
is interesting. Like with the 80, is like we spent a lot of time to make sure that the height for like the first key for the first row, so the spacebar is as low as possible. Because like from our experience, like getting that lower is pretty much always better. And the reason most people need a wrist rest to use a keyboard is because the first row is too high. So the idea is that you can use this without a wrist rest. And I know that's going to sink our rating score because it's not ergonomics, blah, blah. No, you don't need a wrist rest. You need a lower keyboard. That's...
Yes. So it gets even more ideal if you start using cherry
think I
profile
can hide this
keycaps
again.
on the keyboard. Then it gets even lower on that first row.
Yeah.
So this is the direction we want to take with the plastic case. And then we're still trying to find a white version of the plastic case. And we're still looking at what is good to do. Then let's
Wait,
see.
so the PCR plastic case, like the base colors will be this, probably the smoky gray, and then a more lighter color, let's just say that.
Yeah, we're still looking for a more lighter color, and we're not sure yet what to do there yet.
Yeah.
But thanks to now the smoky gray, or the smoky black, smoky black.
Smoky black.
I don't have a name yet, but thanks to the smoky black case, it does give it a bit more of
New keyboards?
Well, it looks,
new keyboard,
in my opinion, it looks really, really good. And if you see it in person,
it does look really good. Yeah. What I also like is that
Yeah.
this also you show me, maybe we can show this on camera, is like, I mean, with the light bar, it has a really nice effect with the, I can't show, I don't have a good picture of it, but then...
yeah, it's really hard to see on camera because the camera just saturates the light way too much. Yeah, it becomes way too... Yeah.
Oh, translucent smoky keycaps with the cases. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, just to make one thing clear, on the picture that Jeroen is showing at the LED bar, that is not, the LED bar is not in there. And what you see there are holes in the silicone to make space for the LEDs to go through, but the LED bar itself is not installed in there. So just to be clear.
Yeah. But one reason I'm also showing it again, I think that's also interesting, is like if you guys look closely, you can see these kind of like speckles inside. And this is something where we are still not sure about, and we also kind of want to bring up to a vote, which is like these speckles are not a requirement for PCR. It just kind of has this idea like, hey, I see this is very often what you see with like recycled products, is they kind of add some imperfection to show that it is a recycled product, but it's not actually a requirement. And I think this is something we will probably put up for votes. Like, hey, if we have the smoky grape glaze, would you like it with these kind of little speckles inside or without? Now, I do think there's a bit too much black in here. We can still tune that a little bit to make it a little bit more, how to say, like flow in a bit better. What's the word? But yes, what is that? Oh, okay, show with RGB. Yeah, nice. Just get the whole transparent NC. Oh, that would be sick. Like that old purple or that old blue, that's to die for. Pull on Discord and Twitter, yeah, for sure.
Active, so it might be actually activating stuff.
Yeah.
But
charcoal. You can call it charcoal. Yeah, you can call it charcoal. Yeah.
Yeah, charcoals. That's pretty good. Yeah. That's a good suggestion. Yeah.
Do we have a
Yeah,
new sample of the
unfortunately,
new
can't-
Metal Coast to show? Oh my god. I was so angry at Calder. He gave it away to Kevin yesterday.
Yeah.
Smoky translucent with the take control waves? Yeah, that'll be sick. I'm not sure if that's even possible with like the subtle.
So
Okay, let's move on.
I received for the zinc alloy case. I received a CNC sample of it to review. I mean, on camera there's not that much to see because it's just completely black, the sample. And we also need to find out the right colors for the zinc alloy case.
Yes.
And that's also kind of the whole thing about hashing out more of the details of the 18.
Oh, I can't show this. I have a picture from Erik that was looking nice, but you can see the whole bottom part. Okay, I can't show this.
Right.
I'm sorry. I want to leak more things.
I made pictures as well. I think.
Maybe
You look in the 80 channel. I made some pictures as well.
Okay, I'm gonna find it.
From mine.
Keep going.
Yeah. But the thing is, when it comes to the colors, we had this original idea about colors, and then we kind of tried it. It didn't really look great, not really what we wanted in the end. And then we're kind of going through this process. We had the same with the going through this process, like what are the right colors, and it takes some experimenting to get to the right point. So
yeah,
we're really happy with this.
But video, but it also shows the.
Oh right.
Yeah.
But then we still need to do the same also for the zinc alloy case. So the zinc alloy case, even if we'd show it, you would not necessarily really clearly see that it is a zinc alloy case. And it has absolutely no final colors there yet. But if you hold it, holy shit.
Wait, so you're saying there's still a possibility that we can do a white zinc alloy case?
Yes, there's still a possibility that we can do a white zinc alloy case.
I shouldn't lean into this too much because I'm gonna set wrong expectations because I don't actually I have no idea if that's actually gonna be good or not.
We're experimenting right now. With the colors
Okay, but
and
it's
trying to
definitely
figure out
on the
what is
table
good, what's
as
bad.
like stuff we're exploring, I think.
Yeah. And it's also not just about the colors, it's also the finish and what kind of method is used for coloring it. So there's like I forgot the name again. Other than painting, you can do like liquid painting, you can do powder painting, but you can also do what's it called again? I forgot the name, but it's basically you put it in a bath, you put a current into the bath, and then the paint starts to attach to the thing, but it's not anodization, and I forgot the name.
Yeah, electroplating, something like that.
Yeah, electroplating is the right. I think electroplating, that is one of the ways, or one of the names for it. Yeah, electroplating. So we're kind of experimenting in this area, and also with painting it first, and then doing a UV coating over it. So it's kind of like a furnish kind of idea.
Yeah.
So we're still figuring that out. So those are more details that we're trying to figure out what is good, what is bad. And since we're going through the retooling, right, and shifting the arrow keys and everything, it gives us a bit more freedom to try out more things. And all those things that we try out, we're gonna make some good pictures of it and also share it in the updates. And then you can also get feedback. And then we also have a better idea if it's liked or not liked.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can't satisfy everybody, so it's more of a we have a certain vision and feeling of what looks good, what's good and what's bad, and then within that certain scope, right, and the feedback that we get, we can start tuning towards a certain direction. But obviously, if that in one example is obviously if we're making a black case, right, and we're looking for a dark colored case, and somebody's screaming make it pink case, right? That great feedback, but we're not going to make the pink case because that's not the direction that we're trying to take it. So it's kind of that type of feedback where there's a scope because we're looking for a certain direction for the product. We have some different things there, and then you can give your input like, is it good, is it bad, or you should try this. These kind of things, and based on that we can also take, experiment a bit more and see what you like or don't like.
Can I show it?
Electrophoresis, that's it.
Hi.
Electrophoresis, that is.
I hit some of the details from Eric's picture.
You're just like.
I mean, I already showed it, so it doesn't really matter. People can already look back. People will just look back later. This is.
Oh look, the LEDs.
Are you guys
going
gonna move the arrow keys? Yes.
Maybe I can show.
Silver's color would also be
That's-
cool for the zinc alloy. Yes, correct. Let's just go through some questions. Oh yeah, okay. Also, yeah, silver zinc alloy. Yeah. Time for the founders campaign. We don't have a good time for it yet, but then I think it will be delayed like 1 or 2 months. That's kind of the expectation. Yeah, and but I think it's kind of interesting, Calder. I'm not sure if you mentioned this before, but we already talked about this. It's like, okay, why actually go for a zinc alloy case over a CNC case? And
Oh,
something
that's a good question.
did not realize, and this is what you told me, is that because it uses what's the word again? The metal injection die casting. That's the word.
Die casting.
You can use. I mean, I assume it's not exactly the same, but when it comes to the case design, you can use pretty much the same as the plastic one. Like it doesn't need to be that much different because CNC is such a different process because like with the die casting you basically also inject, but then you inject metal instead. But then with CNC, because you need to from all different sides, like you cannot do the same design. But with the die casting, we can just basically reuse the design, and that saves a lot of development work. So that's a big reason why. I mean, we've been kind of interested in exploring this route for a long time already, but that's also I mean, I guess that's not all the reason, but that's a big reason, right? And I thought that was just kind of interesting to share. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's another big part. We actually it started with the 60HE. We're doing the Alumays, and we've done CNC projects in the past, but it's Alumays that really opened up the whole producing it at larger quantities. And there were a couple of things we ran into. First of all, is that and we're very aware of that while we're doing the development of the case, is that with CNCing a case, the time of the machine is the most important part, and the more time the machine needs to take, the more expensive it gets. So that's usually also, you don't very often see a CNC case that is completely that is full of angles, because angles take more time with the machine than a straight line or a straight shape.
Yeah.
So that, and the second problem was that we wanted to produce a bit of a bigger quantity, and the only way they could like produce more faster is by horizontal expansion, meaning that the time it takes to complete one case takes a long time, and if you want to do more cases at the same time, like a couple thousand, they would have to get more machines to work on it at the same time. And it's the same problem that you have with 3D printing.
Yeah. These are not small machines, by the way. This is not like
CNC machines are huge. Yes.
Yeah. This is like room filling machines. This is
yeah.
Yeah.
But it takes a while, and so we would place a bigger order, and instead of it, taking a month, it would quickly already take 2 months because we just go over the capacity, and so that's kind of sucks, especially if you want to do it on a bigger scale. And then the third part is just that. It's related to the first part. So the last part, and it's related to the first part, is then also more costly. So if you then look at doing die casting, and die casting is very similar to doing plastic injection. The only difference is that it is not exactly injected, but you do have a big mold, and the metal gets poured in, and then cured inside the mold, and then exits. And that process is much faster, and you can do it at a much bigger scale. And the per unit cost is also lower than if you would CNC it. So it makes it much more affordable to do it in a large scale at a better price for the end user.
But then when you say much more affordable, it's still like 10 times the price of plastic or something. Like it's still it's still metal, right? And the material itself is also like, I just wanted to make sure that it's not like the people expect like, zinc alloy is only going to be, it's just going to be included or something, because it is still a more expensive process, but it's cheaper and more scalable than CNC.
Yes.
Yeah, and you get a heavy.
By the way, it is actually maybe like 20 times more expensive. Um,
Yeah. Oh, there's a good question here,
right.
Calder. Wait, where is it? Okay, I can't find the exact wording. Oh, here it says, how come other companies haven't done zinc alloy die casting? Is there something challenging to it?
Yes, there is one challenge to it. Well, there's a couple things. Like it kind of, first of all, you have to open a mold,
Yeah, I
and
was just
opening a
gonna say
mold costs
CNC.
money.
Yeah.
That's a fixed cost.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where most of your cost is going to be in the beginning.
Yeah.
And if you're like a design or a case maker, and you're doing a smaller quantity, let's say 500 pieces or 1,000 pieces, it's much cheaper because you don't need to invest into a mold.
Yeah.
And in addition, with CNCing, you can also do productions in lower quantities because of the way it doesn't require any molds. And with CNCing, okay, and then there's also the part maybe that, especially if you look at more luxury, if you want to do anodization, which is a certain finish on aluminum that is very often used for cases, you cannot do anodization with die casted cases. And then with die casting, you can actually choose what kind of composition the metal is exactly. So when we say zinc alloy, it doesn't mean that there's no aluminum inside. There is still aluminum inside, but there's a percentage of zinc inside as well. And the reason why we do a zinc alloy version is because by adding zinc inside, it actually makes the case much heavier. Aluminum is a relatively light metal, and zinc adds a lot of weight to it. So if we do this like case that is similar to the plastic injected case, similar in that it's not 100% the same, but it's like 90% the same. There's some adjustments that makes it better for die casting. We also try to make certain areas more thick, so we have more material for more weight. But the thing is, oh my God, I introduced this a bit wrong. With CNCing, you have a block of metal, you carve out space, you try to carve as least as possible. But now we're like, have a mold and we're like adding material. So you're trying to add as much as possible material so you have more weight. And by adding zinc into it, basically the weight goes times 3, if I'm right. It's about 3 or 3.5. So what usually would weigh maybe like 500 grams with aluminum weighs about 1.5 kilos with zinc alloy.
Holy fuck.
And that would
is that much heavier?
So,
wow.
Yeah, it's like makes a huge difference. Yeah. And that's awesome because more weight. The whole point and the whole reason why these aluminum cases sound so nice or have a certain thing to it. It's not just it's the weight,
it's 2.5 times
and the sound, and the finish. And the more weight and exactly zinc. Exactly. Yeah. So the more weight you have, the more it absorbs vibrations, the better the sound gets also. That's kind of like the very like quick way of explaining it at least. So if you can have,
But I guess we're also gonna do some more like typing test comparisons leading up to the launch, right? Like with this, with the zinc case as well, like part of the new page. That'll be pretty sick.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm just not gonna make any promises because.
And also an open question. If we just say it's die casted aluminum or aluminium, die casted to aluminium, would you just say like, no, that's wrong because there's zinc in it? Because I just feel like people don't really know what zinc alloy is. I didn't really know what it is. It might sound a little bit confusing. What is because you say like, okay, it is a composite material, right?
I think it's good for people to feel a bit confused about it because it's different.
Oh yeah.
And then it's
we
kind of
haven't
like
had any problems with people being a little bit confused about things in the past. In the past 2 weeks.
It's just more it's more accurate and it's a bit different process.
Yeah.
And it would be once people have it on their table and they share it with others, then they will at least say it in the right way, and then it will also be like, oh, zinc alloy. I know that from the Wooting thing. You know, it has this like it's heavier and made in a different way than this like whatever aluminum case.
Okay, I mean, it does say, okay, zinc alloy is a combination two metals such as zinc and aluminium, or zinc and copper.
Yeah, honestly, I need to pull up the
There are
whole
many
composition
zinc alloys,
because you have different variants of it, and I don't know which one was used right now.
Yeah.
But you have there's like a 4% zinc, 8% zinc, and 12% zinc. Those are, and then it has a composition of other stuff in there,
Yeah.
which of the majority is still an alloy. Majority, those are all alloys in there. There's a big part of aluminum in there, and this is kind of where my knowledge part kind of comes to an end, and I'm still educating myself on as we get more and more into it.
Oh, zinc alloy, that's so cool, my friends, if I would have them. Share with your
Yes.
friends, Calder, that's a bold assumption.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
It's like,
you know, you
if
have
I go
something
to my friends
combined.
and they're like, "Whoa, zinc alloy," I'll be like, "Oh, what is this?"
No, the way it
My
works
friends are
is
already
you have a
like-
friend coming over. You have a friend coming over, and
You
they
know how
look
hard
at
it
your
is to
keyboard.
explain
They're
this
like,
keyboard stuff to people? I don't know if you've ever tried, but
no,
this
if
is
you have
like
a friend
2
coming
layers
over, they
deep,
look
you
at your
know?
keyboard, they're like, what is this, right? And it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
look like this big block of metal that most of these aluminum cases are, right?
Yeah.
It looks actually a lot, different in some way. And they're like grabbing it and like, holy crap, what the fuck? So heavy. And you're like, yeah, dude, that's zinc alloy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
Just kind of thinking like, the classic thing where if you're kind of raising your game and you're just like, fuck this shit, fuck, and you just throw your zinc alloy case. That'll do some damage. Yeah, that's what you need. No, yeah, exactly. No, I'm telling you, this is really cool. It's zinc alloy. Phil, pick it up. Look, zinc alloy.
Yeah, but we're gonna. This is kind of we're taking this path of exploration to see how it is as a material.
Yeah.
And we're looking at it also as like an alternative for plastic that you can actually do at a mass scale.
Yeah.
And if it works out, we're gonna try to apply it more.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, we're gonna try to find a different direction depending on what comes out of it. But I think it is a really great direction for offering in stock or mass scale an heavy metal case.
Yeah.
Yes. And at the same time, it opens up also the door to do different types of design with it. Because you can do designs of this, which you could not do with CNC.
Yeah, CNC are pretty limited in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We're just better, man. I mean, the batch thing, we already kind of slightly covered it at the start of the stream, but doing in batches and repairs is not our intention. That's just kind of like we're really trying to keep up. So yeah. How does it affect the competition? I mean, of course, it's not good to have pre-orders while there's more competition, right? So we are trying to really catch up, but that's just been like one of the things we struggle with the most, like especially with like, okay, if you can get a keyboard now versus a keyboard in a little bit of while, like, yeah, of course you would prefer the keyboard now. Of course, we're working very hard to make sure that, okay, maybe Wooting software is better, the firmware is more optimized, like try to kind of make a difference there. But yeah, I mean, ideally they would just be on stock. Yeah, that would be the best. With cheaper parts, yeah. I mean, the cheaper parts, that's always going to be a little difficult, but that's also not something we necessarily want to compete against, because we just want to make sure that, hey, every Wooting keyboard that we make is just kind of the best. Not just the best, but then just as good as we can make it. And that also means there's not skimping out on parts, not skimping out on firmware, not skimping out on utility, of course, which it takes a lot of work to develop, but we like to spend a lot of time on it. Because like we also know that, I don't know how much we can talk about this, but then when it comes to like some keyboards that use some newer switches, that use some different sensors to lower the costs, like those also come with some downsides that I think will be, I mean, of course, this is just what we've heard, so I don't want to say like, oh, this is factual yet or anything, but then there could be some issues with like the lifetime and the accuracy that we've heard from sensor vendors that are like, okay, it is cheaper, of course, but it also comes with some downsides. But we'll kind of see how that plays out over time. But then, yeah, at least kids are doing
I'd
it.
be
Yeah,
surprised.
exactly. Yeah.
there's definitely not going to be any Hall effect keyboard vendor out there that's going to give 4 years of warranty.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So I
of course,
think
this,
after
yeah.
maybe 2 years,
Who made
it's
this
yeah.
video again, or this tweet? It's like, hey, not all Hall effects are made equal. Who was that? I don't remember. I think we talked about this before. But I think like it's gonna be like everybody's doing 18 nowadays, but then there's gonna be there's already quite some difference in like, okay, the sensor configuration. Of course, the firmware is a big difference, and the switches as well. And yeah, we'll kind of see how that develops over time, I guess. Like maybe people learn more about it, and then to also make some distinctions there. But then definitely one keyboard is not the other.
Yeah.
Just try to reset the chat to make sure it works again. But then
Yeah, and
the ADHD
maybe
is
related.
guessing. Okay, yeah, I just guessed about
Yeah. Maybe related is that there's also a lot of this. There's rapid switch development in like the last few months or something, right?
Yeah, which is really cool, by the way. Like also to have more options for people.
Yeah, and now that then with that development, there's also the question thrown to us like, well, what are we doing then, right? Also the Lecker switch, for example, and I think the reality is that I think in 2023 we kind of missed an opportunity to invest more into making a switch that time, but I can have also not imagined that we could have been working on it.
No.
At the time either, because we're so much trying to keep up with the growth and with doing the few projects that we did have running. Like we had and the module, Alume's case, and to do also switch on top, it would have been very complicated. Yeah, the A2 is also running. And what I don't like is that it's no secret that we've been working with Gatron to make the Lecker switches. But what I really also don't like is that they have not openly shared with us about their intentions and their developments with switches. And now we're nearing the end of the year. They throw it in our face with all this stuff that we didn't know in public to everybody. And I feel like we're caught with our pants down. This is our switch
kind of
maker.
funny. Is like any plan on stocking Gateron magnetic jades? Like we figured out about those switches at the same time as you guys did, which I mean, that doesn't really feel good to us. Which is like, okay, we've been a very loyal customer with them, and obviously trying to promote them wherever we can. And then they're just like, oh, here's a bunch of new switches we didn't tell you guys about. It's like,
yeah.
But they're also not fully compatible.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for now.
For now, yeah. But that's also the kind of thing. If they just share these things like earlier in the development, what they plan to do, and send us the samples ahead of time.
We would also love to be involved, right? Like we have a lot of feedback for these kind of things, but then.
We could have prepared for the Jade switches, for example. We could have prepared for this and then made it
see like, hey, this decreased distance is actually going to lead to some problems. I mean, we can fix it, but then.
Exactly, but out of nowhere. Also with the Gatron orange switches, which KBD fans started selling, which also came out of nowhere. And they didn't share anything about that either. Then the dual rail sliding system that you're now using on the Switch. We also found out about that the moment they announced it. Like they didn't share anything about this beforehand. And then they're coming to us like, you can start using the Switch in the keyboard. And it's like, the fuck, dude? You have to tell us it's like half a year ago that we could have fucking planned for this. Now you're coming with this, and we have to like, what are we supposed to do with this? Like, and I have to say, it really, I'm talking about it does piss me off because they could have done something so much smarter, and they've really lost my confidence, But we are going to what we are going to do this year is any other switches that come out that are compatible with our keyboard, we're going to see if we can get it in stock on our store.
Yeah.
So that anybody that buys the barebone version of the keyboard can also choose the switches they want.
Yeah, different switches.
And the whole reason also why we started selling barebone keyboards, and also with the module, we did not pre-install the switches and we kept the switches out.
Yeah.
So we wanted to leave the option to the end user, because we could already kind of see and predict that the future is going to be that there are going to be more Hall effect sensor magnet switches out there, and people will be buying different switches and wanting to install them. So
yeah, of course.
we already knew this was coming.
Right
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we knew this was going to go this direction, but it really sucks that the switch maker we cooperated with, that is also steaming this forward, like didn't share anything about it until they announced it publicly. So anyway, does that mean that we've been sitting on our hands and doing nothing about this? No. So we are actively working on making a better switch, and that's all I can kind of say. And we're doing it we're doing two things in parallel.
I saw a comment from Neil Clark. It's a bit frustrating that there's all this talk with ADHD and I'm still waiting for my 280 and 680 to be sent to me. Surely the focus will be on fulfilling outstanding orders rather than new models. Yes, 100%. Like that's something I said already a few times, but we're still super focused on fulfilling those as fast as we can. Also making the fulfillment more. Yeah, of course, we're still responsible for it. Yeah, of course. We're also focusing on making logistics more efficient, working with a fulfillment partner. We recently worked with a fulfillment partner in Hong Kong. I mean, I'm not sure what your location is, but then for people that live in Asia to get faster shipping because it's close to the factory, closer to their home country. So we're still very, very focused on that. Like, of course, like when it comes to what we talk about and what we're going to share about, like either during the stream or the socials, it's going to be about mostly 80 because that's the new thing, right? But that's no way indication of like what we focus on a day-to-day basis. Like the day-to-day is still very much focused on trying to get the 680 and 280s out there ASAP. My face? Yeah, that's maybe just because I don't intend to make any face or anything with that. But yeah, rest assured we're not okay in the UK. That will just be from Netherlands. That should be fine. UK is also a good example where it's like we are very focused on making, like now we do everything DDP, delivery duties paid. So we also have like no problems with the UK at the border, like no surprise import fees, those kind of things. Yeah, so still working on it.
And last Wednesday I was also at our partner manufacturer and talking about the forecast for this year, and also making sure that we have enough 60s being produced, enough Wooting 280s being produced, so we can actually get to the in-stock moment. And we've been working towards that the whole time, really.
I mean, we're just as annoyed as you guys are. Like, this is not. It's also no secret that this is like something we're super. But it just, I understand that it feels really dumb. Like if you would have talked to me a few years ago and I would look at a product and like, oh my god, why can't these guys just get it in stock? This is so stupid. Can't they see that there's like so many people that just want it? And I agree. It feels really dumb. This is like. But it's actually surprisingly hard to do to scale that up to the level that we are right now. I expect like in 24 it should clear up. I mean, we said the same in 23.
Yeah, but I do feel we're getting to a point where we're skill really what we're doing right now. Yeah, we're really Also, it's also a mindset shift, in how to look at manufacturing and distributing at a new scale. And every time
our mind needs to kind of expand to new skills every time.
Yeah. And that also takes time. That's the reality also. Like it's kind of like also you don't know what the cap is. You don't know what is like the maximum you can do. Yeah. There's no clear number there.
Yeah, and if you overshoot, you have a big problem. Especially with the size like we are. Like if you are like a Razer or Corsair and you overshoot on a particular keyboard, like you're not really going to care. You have enough capital to to go like, okay, well this sucks. Let's just burn.
I mean,
this
that's
stuff
just
and
like
then focus
one
on the
of
next
your
release.
models.
And for us, it
Yeah.
just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So, but we're getting better and better, and we're learning, and we're very focused also on streamlining the whole operational side and the front side.
yeah.
That's why we've been working also on this Hong Kong warehouse stuff.
Yeah.
So shipments to Asia are going to be more smooth, and it takes away a lot of pressure from our Netherlands warehouse, which
Yeah.
was getting totally overloaded and delaying a lot of fulfillment.
Yeah.
But it's also new territory again, and I do feel that because our business model is selling directly to consumer and trying to do that whole line up until your front door, it also means that we need to solve new problems that otherwise if other brands don't happen as fast in this industry. So
Yeah.
you'd have a lot of brands in this industry, they're from the US, and they'll mostly just ship from the US. And if it's outside of the US, and for example, European market growing a lot, they work with resellers. And that for a lot of other brands, the same. They'll start working with resellers. Resellers would be their main way of distribution, and or otherwise they'll start utilizing Amazon heavily. And then Amazon becomes like their main way of distributing in internationally. And we're not doing Amazon, and we're also not working with a lot of resellers because we are just very focused on doing direct to consumer and building that business model. And when it comes to selling to resellers, we are kind of opening up to this, but we're not going full blown because we've done this in the past with distributors and we just don't like the model.
Yeah.
And it takes time to build it up.
Yeah.
You would
Any plans on licensing firmware to different boards, say from
and
layouts?
right, Amazon Prime 1-day delivery expectations. Oh my, you guys healed me from my Amazon Prime 1-day
Yeah.
delivery expectations. I'm getting my module sent today or next week. After waiting since November, I'm very happy. I'm glad to hear that. It's very difficult to compete with Amazon's delivery times, and
Of course.
this is also kind of the challenge, you know. But we're very fortunate that we do have a product where you don't need it. I mean, you would love to have it the next day, of course, right? But there's a greater chance you're willing to wait because you can't really like go for brand B that is like the same thing, but then maybe a different color. And
But I think like once we're
I don't know how
actually
much
on stock,
if you
just
ever
having
be
running
able to
stock.
compete with Amazon when it comes to this kind of distribution. But we also don't want to work with Amazon because then we get stuck with Amazon and they'll take over your business.
Will we have the
slowly.
Amazon talk?
And you become dependent on them, and everything that happens with Amazon happens to you. And then the Chinese manufacturer comes and completely
I
destroys you.
think my microphone is, I don't know what's going on. Calder, can you still hear me? Oh, it should be fine. Calder?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right then. No, I lowered my standing desk and then my screen fell over, and then all my USB device disconnected. Have you ever thought about selling directly in China? Well, the warehouse in Hong Kong is like already a step closer because we have seen quite a lot of interest in China. Just to have like very fast shipping to China. But then selling domestically, or let's say selling and shipping direct domestically in China is actually pretty complicated for us. We are looking at working with other parties, like we've worked with Sea Frontier in the past as well, and we're still probably going to work with them because they're just pretty cool guys and we like them a lot. But then that's something also still under development.
And the main problem there also is that as long as we can't keep it in stock ourselves, we can't sell it to resellers.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like the stock that we would otherwise sell in our own store to customers direct. So we have it in stock, we'd just have to cut in there. We'd have to cut out a piece of that, make it even worse, and then to a reseller.
Yeah. Wouldn't the Raka 60 eat most of the market in China? I don't think so. I mean, of course, like it's a very good PCB that they are going to make it in the keyboard with KB defense, I think. But even then, like, it's a big market. Like there's a lot of.
I think there's also the Raka is going to have a hard time to scale up easily.
Yeah.
There is so much more that you need to do other than making the keyboard alone to get it even from producing to delivering to end users.
Yeah.
And there's a big part there too. And there's also some really simple things that if we look long term, there are just also some very simple things that they can't compete with. And that's kind of the thing of a lot of the competitors is a lot of the new competitors that come up. It's all about, oh, it has rapid trigger, and it's low priced. And look, we basically copied the utility. You have all the same stuff.
Yeah.
And because they have nothing unique or new to show. So cheap, same and cheap. Then you get all these others doing exactly the same thing. So what do they have to do then? Oh, we have the aluminum case, which is just an aluminum frame around the plastic case. Oh, we have the whatever premium disc with it, whatever, and they start competing with each other. But in the end, what are they selling and what do you have is something that is only interesting for that one small moment, for those couple of months that it is a hype or that it's interesting.
Yep.
But it's not the thing that you buy and then over the years are going to enjoy for a long time.
You've got utility, but
So if we look at things like this year, well, I mean, if you look at things like what we've done also with Wooting 1, Wooting 2, they've gone through such nice development lifetime from start in 2017 with the Wooting 1,
2017, yeah.
all the way up till last year was the last update we've done, right? With new features, new utility, 6 years later, still, we've been updating those keyboards and providing new experiences.
Yes.
And
not just that, but if you want to update your firmware, you don't have to download some sort of weird zip file from the Discord.
Yeah. So, and I think what really surprises me, I'm really happy about this too, but I saw it a couple of times on Discord, people that were waiting for the 80 to launch, and they were like still rocking their Wooting 1 keyboard.
Yeah.
And the amount of Wooting 1s we've sold, we've sold more 60s now than we've sold Wooting 1s.
And 2s
so
combined.
Really, yeah. So I'm very happy to see that. That's exactly what we're striving for, you know, that experience. Like you're still rocking the keyboard. We can still surprise you with a couple of things, and you're looking forward to.
Yeah, we also put rapid trigger like to the best of our capability, of course, because the Switch technology is a little bit different. But also try to put rapid trigger in a pretty good way on Wooting 1 and 2 as well, kind of backported. Yeah, and even like when it comes to our firmware development, like we just make sure that it's not like we have like different firmwares for Wooting 1 and 2 and the HC keyboards, and it's like, oh shit, you're gonna get in big trouble if you want to backport something, it takes a lot of work. No, we all try to just keep it one firmware with just some flags to go back and forth, and then you kind of like make sure that, okay, if you fix a bug in the USB for an HC keyboard, it's also just gonna work with the Wooting 1 and 2. USB may be the best example because it's actually a different chip, but then let's just say in the scanning or in the RGB profiles or something like that. Like that's just gonna work.
Yeah, and those kind of things, I think that's also one of the places where we just differentiate a lot, and that's why also one of the first places where I think you're gonna see, I think especially if you're in China domestic market, there are even more brands than I even know about that have made probably a Hall effect keyboard.
Yeah.
But by now they don't exist anymore because they just made it one time, they sold it, and they kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Because that's that's in the end the motivation for all of them. There's an opportunity to earn money.
Quick buck.
This. It's the new big thing in the keyboard scene where you can earn money. Just make your rapid trigger keyboard,
You know how
and
many
sell
mouses
it
I've
for a
seen with
cheaper
holes inside
price.
them? Oh. Okay, Calder, I
But,
I
anyway.
think we should round up soon. I think we covered most of the parts with the 80 and some other parts. I saw there were some questions about some other products we're working on, like the take control keycaps, different colors, with the cables as well. I don't think we have like necessarily any newer update than last time. So that's still being worked on. And I don't know exactly status, so whatever you remember from 2 weeks ago, that's probably still relevant.
I think the biggest thing is just for this week we're going to make a new update. This next week basically we're gonna make a new update.
Yeah.
And we're gonna share some progress. Also, we'll share a bit about the charcoal, right?
Yes.
About the transparent charcoal case.
Yeah.
And we're gonna share a bit about the zinc alloy case. And what we just shared about the arrow keys, confirming it, and that it will take a month and a half to make that change, excluding Chinese New Year, so that kind of stuff. And
it
it'll
also
be
kind of
on
makes
the
sure what
ATHE
people can
page.
expect when it comes to the timeline for the campaign, because the countdown, we said that the countdown to the show now is not going to be accurate anymore. But we'll update that page probably starting next week.
Yeah, and then we'll also be up. So the whole ATHE page will be updated, and that will also kind of answer questions like why arrow keys on ATHE have a lot of space on the right side.
Yeah.
Because we actually now changed it, so the arrow keys will be shifted more to the right, and then we kind of have that confirmation there. But I'm expecting to be some confusion there with the pictures that we're going to make. Also, it's going to stay for a while until we've made the changes complete. But that'll be the case.
Okay, guys, last chance to get the questions in then. There's just one thing that really bothers me that I don't know what you should. You know, sometimes you see, like, especially on Discord or like YouTube comments, that they'll go like, "Oh, look at Calder. He clearly lost it. All this bad feedback must really be getting to him. I feel so sad for the guy." And I'm just like, dude, you don't know shit. Why are you projecting what you feel so much on what you're seeing? It's just the most insane thing to me. It's like, you don't even know the guy. You're just like, oh, he obviously looks so sad. This was really getting to him. And it's like, of course it's not easy, but then it goes pretty far, you know? Well,
I mean, if we look at the most difficult time, if we look at the most difficult times we've had with Wooting, this is definitely not it.
No, it's not because it's not difficult. It's just like we've been doing this for a while. Like we've been through some shit. I think people kind of underestimate like how long we've been doing this now. It's already seven, maybe 8 years, almost 8 years.
I guess 2016, 2015, things started to like come together. We came together.
Yeah.
That we're gonna do this Wooting 1 thing. 2016 we launched. We had a prototype. We launched the campaign. Yeah. So if we take 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're in the 8th year. Is that right?
Yeah. And I don't want to say like this obviously like this whole thing is our baby. So obviously this hurts, but then it's more about the projecting of like. Other people that just feels a little bit weird to me, especially because like I feel like for the people that have followed us for a long time, I feel like they have a pretty good sense of like what we do and who we are, but then these guys are obviously not it.
Yeah, but the reality is I've been crying in the corner now.
Yeah, of course, I've been too. But then to go like, oh, this is obviously Herming, look how sad he looks, and it's like it just I don't know, it just feels kind of weird, you know.
I mean, this whole thing, what it definitely has done is it came unexpected, and it has definitely straightened out a bit the mindset of going forward.
Yeah, for sure.
And sharpened it a bit more.
Yeah.
Sharpened it a bit more also.
Yeah.
Also where to put more focus. because I do, have been losing a little bit of the focus, and this put
Yeah.
things in perspective. So that was very nice. And
I think so.
I also, in the end, I concluded also actually that I'm extremely happy that this actually happened,
Yeah.
because apparently we have a big enough impact on people that they care so much.
Yeah. When I explained the situation
You know?
to my friends, I kind of like explained it with like doing the. Okay, wait, maybe I shouldn't say that, but then it's like how people maybe feel about last season of Game of Thrones or something, where it's like you're so invested in something and it's not really what you expect it to be, and. I shouldn't say it like that, because like that actually sucked, and I do truly believe that ADAC is going to be really good. It's just that, especially with how we communicated, like we just kind of set up a mismatch of expectation. That was a really bad, like looking back, it's a bad idea. At the time, we were very blind to it. Even if you walk on water, people will complain about how stupid you're not being able to swim, you know.
Yeah, but you know, it is the truth is also that I think we have a good. We're three founders, right? So there's me, there's Jeroen, and there's Erik. And if only one of us was doing Wooting, right? I think it would have failed at some point really
Miserably.
bad.
Yeah.
Miserably, yeah.
Yes.
At some point, and each one of us would have a different point where it would fail.
Yeah.
Right? But it's because we have the three of us, we're able to keep each other a bit sane, and also kind of, what is it called? Where my weaknesses are Erik's strengths, for example. And Jeroen
complement
has
each other.
strengths there.
Yeah.
We complement each other. Yeah. And it also really helps throughout the whole journey to have people that you can talk with, that are on the same level, on the same boat. You can share everything with and decide things together with. So I don't think, if we were not with the three of us, I definitely think everything would have fallen apart at some point. And also through this thing, it is also a thing. We've had a lot more worse stuff in the past, just to be very clear. Like we've gone through so much shit with Wooting.
Mostly background, just more on the background. Like this is more a public thing. It hasn't been this public.
That's true.
Before,
Yes.
think,
Yeah.
That was more like business wise.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I think like one thing that I really hope, or it's not necessarily hope, but I know it's not going to happen. It's like that we shouldn't, because of this, that we shouldn't be scared to just share more, like kind of keep doing that. Because I do think there could be a feeling, I know I've at least had this feeling, especially over last week, where it's like, oh fuck, can I actually talk about this? Because like, people might respond this way. But I just feel like we've always done it this way, and this is also something that we should keep doing, because at least to me it feels like, okay, that's what people really like, and that's also what we love to do. But then I guess that also kind of means like, okay, sometimes you have a big miss as well. So,
So I also hope with every new product we can start sharing as early as we can, but we need to kind of find a different way.
A good balance, yeah, exactly,
yeah. But we'll figure something out, because it's like you said, what makes all of this is also a lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay, Calder, I need to go.
I think that was the end, right?
That was the end. Thank you all very much for joining, and we'll I think release another update next week or so, and then we'll talk to you guys in 2 weeks.